All right. Good morning, everybody. So we have an interesting topic for today. I don't know how many of you have heard all the information going around about the new FinCEN reporting. Raise of hands, who's heard about it? Okay, so a couple. So this will be a great class to have. So basically, what the FinCEN is, and I have it on my phone here, FinCEN is Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, a bureau of the U.S. Department of the Treasury that collects and analyzes information about financial transactions to combat domestic and international money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes. So basically, the government has assigned escrow to be Crime Stoppers.
Mandated reporters.
Mandated reporters. So, officials of the government. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not getting in trouble for that one. Yeah, so basically, yeah. So what we want to go over today is just briefly like what they're requiring escrow to gather. And so we have a form here that kind of has basic information, and then this is actual copy of what we have to go input into their portal as escrow holder. So this is a lot of information, as you can see, that we have to collect from clients. So, and I don't know if any of you have noticed this either too, there is a new FinCEN disclosure that pops out at the end of the RPA when you print it out. It's at the very end, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's in there now, but there is a new FinCEN disclosure, and I think the broker maybe had a class about it, okay. Yeah, so basically disclosing, if there is FinCEN reporting, the clients have to give us this information to close. So there's no waiving this. You can't say, oh, can you do an amendment and waive this? No, the government's not going to let us waive anything. They want all this information for these particular transactions. And then, so to get started, basically for FinCEN to be a requirement for a transaction, on this page right here, these, thanks.
Over here.
So these items have to be true. So buyer is going to be an entity or a trust. So LLC, corporation, partnership, trust. Property is residential, so 1 to 4 units. So if you want to do money laundering, do commercial property.
Or land that's used could be residential. Vacant land that could become residential.
Correct.
That's one of the other guidelines.
So if they intend to build residential on that piece of vacant land, it is FinCEN reportable. So we have to ask them, do you intend to build residential on this piece of land? Isn't that exciting?
And if I'm going to go launder money, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yes. So if you want
to launder, buy multi-unit.
Yes.
5 and above.
Yeah. So
then we don't report.
And this is the part that trips me up, because anybody who wants to actually launder money, they're going to go, okay, thanks for this. We'll go ahead and do the opposite. It's literally, if you want to launder money, just buy commercial.
You can launder more, though.
Huh?
You can launder more, though.
Probably. It's opposition.
Right.
And the thing is, too, a lot of this stuff, too, so they just implemented this. They just implemented this March 1st, so I'm expecting way more changes to happen, at least probably by the end of the year. Just even last year when I was attending classes in regards to this, they were changing requirements and information that was needed, like all up until, February 29th this year, was that the last day of the month? So take this with a grain of salt too, because this is probably going to change even more as they they just rolled this out and what information they do need, don't need, blah, 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 blah. So basically, and then anything, if it's a cash transaction, private money, hard money, or any lender that's not FDIC insured will be requiring FinCEN. So just because they have some sort of loan on the transaction does not exempt it.
Basically, your buyer's going to trigger
seller financing, correct.
But every party on the transaction now has to report all requested information. So your buyer's going to trigger it, which means then seller, private lender, if any, all of them have to provide all of the information in the second packet.
And seller carryback, like Ken said too. So if there's a seller carryback, yes, it will trigger FinCEN if the buyer's trust or corporation. If the buyer's an individual, then that's their exemption for it. So,
So buy as an individual.
buy as an individual. And then, so what escrow needs, and it says down here, but really, so it says escrow needs full name, date of birth, home address, social security number, or ITIN, plus more information. So, previously, when a buyer was purchasing in a corporation, we didn't need to get their individual social security numbers and everything like that because, we did everything through the corporation. That's not the case anymore. We have to, what we're going to be doing for these types of files, we are going to send out a statement of information for the buyers to make sure that we get that individual information. Because when we do file, it is in here that we need their home address, not just their business address, their home address, and their social security number, date of birth. And when we file this too, it doesn't mean, okay, we filed it, we gave them all the information, it's done. They can come back and say, this is incomplete, this is this, or we need additional information. And your clients, when we request the information, they are required to give us the information.
7 days.
7 days.
Written request.
Written request. Even after the close of escrow, if they come back and say we need more information, they have to give it to us. It's a governmental thing. Like there's no way to get out of this. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be requesting the state-related information.
Yeah.
If we will know what kind of purchase is going to be, what the buyer is going to be. So shouldn't we just go ahead and get the SOI for you?
I love that. Yes, please.
It should be part of the purchase contract.
Yeah, and the thing is, and this is why we want to teach about this, because we want you to prepare your clients, like, before we even open escrow.
For
like,
ridiculous requests.
Because we're having them sign forms under penalty of perjury that the information that they're giving us is true. Because it isn't escrow's job to go and investigate the corporation and, investigate that information. So they're signing under penalty of perjury that all the information that they're providing for the transaction is true. And it's not only like for the entities in the trust, we need all beneficiaries' information.
Successor trustees, ownership in companies, each person with more than 25% ownership will then have to provide all of their personal information.
Yes. So just because you have, like, we're a corporation, okay, but I'm the authorized signer. Kimmy's the authorized signer, so you think only I'm going to be on there, but we own it 50%. She doesn't sign anything. I'm the only authorized signer. Still need all her information. I need her social security number. I need her home address. I need her date of birth because she has more than 25% ownership. So anybody who has more than 25% ownership, you need all their information as well.
We don't want it. We really don't. We have to ask for it.
I'm sorry, I missed the first, but is this for the buyer? So
The buyer triggers FinCEN. Once FinCEN reporting is triggered for a file, all parties are required to report. Seller, lender, buyer.
So we also have to collect information from the seller. So when the buyer triggers it for being in a corporation, cash, hard money lender, we also have to input the seller's information into the portal.
Which typically we'd have all that information anyways on the seller because it's part of our file anyways. So they are not really, they still would sign the form saying that they're providing it under penalty of perjury. So the seller would still have to sign that disclosure that they know their information is being reported.
And understanding that if after the close of escrow, they come back to us and request additional information that they must provide it.
I have a question. Where did you get the form?
This form?
The form for the...
There is a car form, a disclosure. Are you talking about that one? It gets printed out with the contract. But we have our own disclosure that we're having them sign under penalty of perjury, that when we're requesting this information that it's true and correct to the best of their knowledge.
It'll be part of our escrow instruction, our opening package.
Yeah.
It'll be part of that, and then we have the time starts for them to provide the information.
Yeah, and you can have, files can change too, because you can have like, a file that wouldn't trigger FinCEN, they're buying as an individual, and then all of a sudden, middle of the transaction, they're like, I'm going to buy it in my corporation now. We'll do addendums, transfer it over to the corporation, and then it can transfer to FinCEN reportable.
So we want to not do that right at closing anymore. because it's gonna add, we now need to get all these FinCEN forms filled out before we can close. So if you have an inkling that your buyer may switch to an LLC or trust, let us know. We can start collecting the information or knowing that it may come up.
And we will not close without 100% of the information.
Yes, there will be no waivers, no hold, no, we
We'll
have
get it
to
to you
have it
later.
all.
Then connect sort of the.
Yes. It can delay. Yes.
And title asks us if we have all of our FinCEN reporting. So
One
we
of
have
them
to,
did.
we have to agree, tell them, yes, we have all the information.
Yeah, one of them did ask that.
Yes.
And I'll get back to you to see if they're all gonna
Mhm.
request that we have that. We're doing our own reporting. Some places are servicing out to other companies, but when we reached out to a company about doing a third-party servicing, they collect the information, but they still make us go in the portal and put everything in.
But they charge an extra fee.
And so I was like, okay, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But as escrow, we will be charging. There will be a fee associated to the file for the additional work and for inputting the information. And we have to retain this all on record for 5 years. So we have to retain digital copies of everything for 5 years. So yes. Oh, it's up there?
Yeah, Amanda got it up there.
I love it.
The additional fee is for both.
It'll be,
Both
yeah.
sides.
Because we have to collect the information and retain it for 5 years for both. It's one. It ends up printing out one report. The one that I did yesterday, because this is fun. I wanted to make a rule, and I'm not allowed to, that there's only one wire for buyers to send in. Every single wire that gets sent in for a FinCEN transaction, I have to input every single wire, full account numbers, who sent it, what bank it came from. So I had one that had 6 wires on it, and so I had to input.
I have many buyers, okay?
Yeah, she's in trouble. So every single wire that comes in for that buyer's transaction has to be inputted into the portal.
We have to request their full account numbers. Private money lenders, your local people, your local agents, they're going to have to provide their full account numbers to us to enter in for that. That's one of the things.
At least you guys don't have to do that part.
This is just for.
Not individual.
Yes.
That's the loophole.
That's the loophole. Buy as an individual.
Please.
Or commercial.
Or commercial. Yeah, and so once again, it can't be waived. Let's see. And we just want you to have this information so you can alert your clients of the possibility. And I would tell them, even if it's not a FinCEN transaction, because if the buyer chooses to switch it to a corporation or a trust in the middle of the transaction, which comes up often. Or switch from having in a situation, where you're getting a regular loan and they're like, I decided I want to buy cash, which happens. You just want to give your clients a heads up just in case so they understand why we're collecting this additional information. The government wants the data. And another one of the reasons that we can't waive it, they have 6-figure fines against this. So I'm not waiving nothing for nobody.
We only have till the end of once our transaction closes. So anything closing in March, we only have till April 30th to have it reported. We don't have an unlimited amount of time. So we have to make sure we're collecting and reporting as we go. So quite a few of our files are being affected. So
Yeah, I've done, how many files have I done already?
5?
I did 3 yesterday.
Yeah. So
And then before that, 4, okay, 7 or 8 now.
Yeah. So we don't mind doing the collecting, but we just want everyone to know why we are. It's really not us.
It's not us. And as you can see too, I just want everybody to take a look at this form for funsies. This is a lot of information.
I don't know how to get to that form. Tell me
I don't know. I can't help with that one. I can do the portal, but I can't do that. But if you look on here, this is a lot of information. And this isn't even all the information, because if you have multiple beneficiaries, so if you have 4 beneficiaries, everybody has 25%, these forms get even longer. And if they have multiple wires, yesterday, like I said, it took me an hour and a half to input everything in because I had to input every single wire. And if you're missing, you can't put NA, so there's no NA. You're not allowed to put non-applicable. And if you don't have all the information as you're reporting, it doesn't save it. So you don't get to save it and go back later. You have to close out and re-enter everything in. I learned that the hard way. Dang, start over. But it won't let you finalize anything if anything says NA or is left blank. Also, a fun, interesting fact, which I don't understand how they came up with this. For the legal description, this is actually on the second page. You would think that you're able to put the whole legal description. Some are very long. They only let you put 1,000 characters in there. So I don't know the purpose of that, but just a fun fact.
They're probably just saving themselves the work so you can have it all.
Yeah, so you get to put 1,000 characters. So if you have one of those legal descriptions that's like super long, you can't even fit the whole legal description in there. I don't know.
Oh, I got it. Sorry. I have the FinCEN reporting on Zoom now.
But yeah, and we're still learning as we go with this too, because there's like, as I'm inputting things and doing the reporting, I'm learning little things that come up. So one of the things is that if a client asks you, can we provide our driver's license instead of a social security number or ITIN, it's a no. It has to be a social security number or an ITIN. So I thought they were going to provide a driver's license. I think that's what I thought originally, maybe in one of the previous classes I attended, and they changed it into absolute hard no. So, and then for their corporation too, we need to get their EIN.
Yes.
Their employer.
In addition to their personal social security.
Exactly. So they want all their individual information as well as all their corporation and trust information. So it's not just corporation information now. And it used to be based on purchase price. I don't know if you guys ever knew that. So they used to do, title company would do like the FinCEN reporting, and it would be anything over $300,000. That's not a thing anymore. It's any purchase price. And another fun fact, attorneys who are preparing individual deeds for people not even through a transaction are required to report.
So if you go make a trust and your attorney does a deed to put that into your trust and they have you go record it, that person is now responsible to report that transaction because it's a trust.
Exactly. It's not going to be this real estate report. There's a different part in the portal where they can do just like a transfer deed type reporting. But this is also another reason escrow does not do accommodation deeds. We're not going to prepare a deed for you and your friends to deed it to your brother, trust, because we're liable now for that deed for reporting it, and so we will not do that.
I'll tell you how to do it.
There is a link. But the thing is too, you have to know, like, if you're transferring something into your trust too, like you can be responsible for reporting yourself. So if you're gonna do anything like that, I mean, I would really advise getting somebody to assist you with that.
Yeah, because the attorneys are gonna have their own portal to input that reporting, but just know it is all gonna be reported.
And it's 6-figure fines for like if we're purposely,
not reporting
or, doing things not correctly. So when in doubt, report it out. But if you guys have questions, I know it's kind of like, and there's going to be changes to this too. So some of the stuff we're going over,
we're going to change our forms as we go to try and make them more sufficient to collect the information as user friendly for the clients. We do pre-fill out as much of the info as we can before we send out. So we're not just sending your clients these forms with all these pages of information to complete. Whatever info we have, we're filling it out. So they just have to fill in the missing. We're trying to help that way.
I know in the class that we took with Wendy, there was a question about, for example, I'm the listing agent and the buyer that's coming in, of course, has another agent. And so when they go into escrow and all this information is required from the buyer, are you going to let us know whether the information is there or not, even though we're not involved in it?
It'll be part of our status update. When we requested FinCEN, once we've determined the file is FinCEN reportable, we'll let everyone know. We'll let everyone know when we've sent it out to their clients for their collection because that 7 days starts.
Okay, so we can bug,
Yes.
we can bug the other
Absolutely.
agents, say,
Yes.
we gotta make sure.
You guys will
we're
be all
gonna
looped
close.
in.
Absolutely. If I am missing one box in here, I will not close the file.
So we'll make sure to let everyone know on our statuses.
How long, once you open escrow, how many days do you think it's gonna be until this form goes out to everyone to fill out?
Ideally, it would be able to go out with our opening
With
package
our
on
opening
day
packages,
3.
if we know. If we know that it's FinCEN reportable, like if it's a corporation, trust, like
LLC
it'll
buyer.
go out with the opening packages.
Okay, so,
Day
so
3.
you'll notify the agents
Yes.
that this has gone out, because my concern is that it doesn't get sent out in a timely manner,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not knowing, say I'm representing the seller.
Yeah.
So the seller's counting on me to make sure that I have kept in touch with you and know every step of it, because this is like a contingency that's not a contingency, because as the agent, we really don't control it, but we need to inform our buyer, our seller, that, hey, the buyer's not responding.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because at some point, the seller can do a notice to perform,
Yes.
to answer and fill out escrows.
And I can refuse to close the escrow without having that information as escrow
But
holder.
the problem is,
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to explain to a seller
Yeah.
that, oh, we've gone 3 weeks into this, and now I'm just telling you that the buyer's not cooperating.
No. So that will be part of our statuses. We're gonna be so our statuses, I don't know if you guys have seen these, but we put both agents on the same status and we say what we're missing from everybody, because we like to keep things fully transparent. Like, we're missing the seller package, we're missing the buyer package, we're missing signed commissions. So it'll be part of our statuses that we send out to all parties, like, hey, we sent the FinCEN out with the opening package. We do not have this completed by the buyer, or we don't have it completed by the seller, because, both sides sometimes take time to complete their items. And we'll also, too, like, explain to the clients, this is the information, we can't waive it, it is what it is.
I think also it would be to our advantage as a listing agent that when we get the offer and we accept it, we should go ahead and do like a counter and say that the offer is being accepted pending such and such, that the document
As an individual.
should be at escrow
Mhm.
in certain period,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what the time
Yeah.
frame you gave them.
Yeah,
But
and
we
I
want to
did.
be satisfied.
Yeah, and I can't even recall. I was reading the your guys' the car form, but I can't recall all the information that was on there. But I think it even states there too. Like, it's basically saying, like, this is part of the transaction. If these things are on here, you have to submit it. Like, you can't close. And then you had another question.
I forgot.
Okay. Unacceptable. But no, it is, escrow will keep everybody updated when there is FinCEN and the status of having that information to close. And here's the thing too, is we don't report through the transaction. We can't report until the deed is recorded.
So on your status, you're gonna actually now have almost like a section for FinCEN.
For FinCEN.
When
FinCEN, whether it's
So
reply.
we can look at it, we're not looking all over the place, it's right there all in one spot.
It'll be so, because
Buyers have filled it out, sellers have filled it out.
or we'll say we don't have it completed.
Like, our status has buyer, we have buyer sign package, we have seller sign package, we have payoff, FinCEN will be added. We have sent buyer and seller FinCEN this date. We have received buyer's FinCEN, we have received seller's FinCEN, it'll all be right on top.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you get the packages back and you find things missing, that becomes a new status of
Yes.
it's incomplete.
After review, we need additional info, or after review, all good.
Yes.
Because that's going to be important, because we could be going for weeks and then all of a sudden have a file that's never good.
Yes. And the thing is too, thank God, the clients have been really responsive that we've been working with so far.
Quite a few already knew about it.
Some knew about it, and I think it's just because the particular people that they've been working with have informed them, like, this is what's happening. So like one of our sellers even knew, oh yeah, I know this is coming up for this file. I was like, okay, great.
I think he was military.
What is the answer to a question from the seller, let's say? Because I don't think the buyer's gonna be as tough to have, they realize they're buying.
Oh, well, and they're triggering it, so it's their fault that it's
But the seller's
reported.
going, why am I providing all this when I'm not paying cash, I'm not. So that information that they put on this form, how do they know that it's secure?
Well, anything on this form for the seller is already on our statement of information.
Some of it we can just pull from.
So we're really not going to need additional information for most sellers because we already have their social, we have their driver, their date of birth, and their driver's license number, and we most likely have a copy of their ID because they've come in to sign their grant deed, or we've used our mobile notary service that gets a copy for us. So for the traditional, regular person, individual seller, we'll have all the info. They're just going to have to sign a disclosure that they've already signed taking the offer.
Mm-hmm. And we have secured emails
Portal,
and stuff like that.
secure.
So we have, and we also have secured emails that we do where they click on the little link if they prefer to have it done that way.
When we
if
send
they want us to FedEx it, we can FedEx it.
When we send the SI to title already, which we're doing on every file, we send those secure because it does have social, driver's license, date of birth, and an address. So we do try to keep.
Some people fax to us still.
All day yesterday.
Yeah.
All day.
They were using the wrong fax number and it's going to our regular office phone number.
For about an hour.
That was fun. But also too, like on these files, like most of the information that's being collected is for the buyer. So the seller portion is actually a lot smaller when we're inputting it into the portal than the buyer. It's more detailed on the buyer side.
Now where I can see it coming up as a problem for the seller, if our seller is an LLC or a trust or an entity, and now they thought they had an individual buyer who now decided to buy in their trust or the LLC, which now triggered FinCEN. So now that seller's LLC trust or whatever entity, now that has to provide all that information. That could be one issue I can see with the seller, that we wouldn't already have all the info, is if the seller was an entity trust.
Yeah. But what I'm going to be doing on all files, whether it's a trust or an entity now, is we're going to send out a statement of information for individual information.
So maybe sellers want to choose to only take an individual buyer. If that's allowed, I don't know.
I don't know about that one. I don't think they can. I don't know. That's a broker question. That is not an escrow. I don't know.
And is there going to be additional charges?
Yes.
For escrow?
Yes. There will be.
Will it trigger both parties?
It'll trigger both parties. Yes, because we have to retain records for 5 years too, and it's a processing fee, and everywhere is charging fees. The title companies, there's third-party services,
individual escrows that are reporting.
So everybody's charging for this service because it can be pretty
time-consuming.
Any idea how much it's going to be?
Yes, it's going to be $250 per side. And if the buyer's triggering it, you might want to let your clients know so that you can maybe negotiate having the buyer pay.
This will show up on the net sheet as well.
Yes.
Yes, it is being added to our net sheet already. We added it, right?
Yeah.
And the third-party services too. They're there's another company that I heard was charging like $700, and we can't talk and say we're all going to charge the same thing because then it's called price fixing, and so we can get in trouble for that. So we're not trying to price fix with everybody, but I mean $700 to $800
is what we're seeing.
I've seen, because of we have to keep the records, the liability, and the inputting of the information and collecting of the information.
Yeah, I have a question. That means 250 is for each. In case I have the two buyers for the purchasing, each one has to pay 250.
No, if you have one buyer
per side.
Yeah. No, it's not per buyer.
Question, though.
But I actually love that. No,
it'll be $100 per additional.
Excellent. Yeah. We'll talk.
Has a question come up with the lender, for example, and putting that $250 as part of the closing cost?
No.
Hasn't come up yet.
Okay, so maybe.
I think because they understand the work, and because too, like we were originally like there was a title company we were trying to refer it out to as well because
And designate them.
we
to
can
be
designate like a title company. The issue was, so they ended up charging $175 per site, I think. The issue is that they were sending portals to the clients at the close of escrow, and
day of
nobody knew
funding.
how to use it.
And it held up 3 files recording.
Because nobody knew how to use the title portals because I didn't get to see them, but apparently like you have to create some sort of account and all this
Use
kind
your
of
smartphone,
stuff.
do a video,
And you
people,
know,
we have a lot of people that just don't.
And your clients, I'm sure, are like, I don't want to be creating a portal at the close of escrow trying to figure this out. So we're trying to get ahead of it by sending this out with our opening packages if we know it's FinCEN reportable, like, if it meets this criteria. If it's individual, I'm not going to be sending out FinCEN, but if it switches in the middle of a transaction, we're going to let everybody know that this is a requirement and we'll need it ASAP. But we found that having the clients fill out, and actually this was the advice that we were given when we went to the class with, it was actually our attorney that held it, having them highlighting their sections that they need to complete. And so too, this will make it easier when I'm going to report it, like I can just match each number up with each thing. But this is the best way to make sure that we don't miss any information.
And now I'm not sending clients that whole packet. I'm sending them the questions for their side. So like whatever question 31 through 60 is buyer, I just send them that. So I'm trying not to overwhelm people with all of this information.
Yeah.
So we are not dumbing it down, but
we're trying to make it as easy as possible
and easy for everyone as possible. So they don't feel like they're giving us all of their information going through 6 pages of little boxes.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff too, like we can input for them and just say, please approve and verify that this is the information, like this is your name. Like please approve that this is your name.
Yeah, your date of birth, your social.
Date of birth. Mm-hmm.
So you'll actually put the information in this form, and
we'll have them
already
approve it.
Filled out when it's sent.
We're trying to make it as easy. If we have that information, that's what we're gonna do. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. Like I said, there's other companies that are using portals that are just sending out the link and like, here you go. And then they're not going to do the service too, where we're going to be like, we don't have this, we need to follow up. The third party services are like, here's a link, that's your job to make sure that they did it,
make sure it's complete.
And we don't get a copy of the link, we don't get. So for us, this was the best solution to make sure that we don't delay anybody's closing, is just to keep it in-house. A lot of escrow companies are not doing that. And it's not trying to brag on ourselves, it's just, I was scared of it at first, but then once I, created the portal and went in there and started doing it, I'm like, okay, this is something that we can do. It's going to take time, but it's something that we can do internally so we don't, give it off to somebody else and we have zero control over it, because that's the problem. When we don't have control over it, we don't know what's going on. And that can be very frustrating, especially like if you guys are calling us like, well, what's the status on the FINCEN?
Well, I mean, we have enough issues with the solar portals between buyer, seller, and everybody. Now we're going to add in a FINCEN portal for everyone to have to jump into? No. It's just easier this way.
Yeah.
More efficient.
Anybody have any more questions about the FINCEN? At least you guys don't have to do it, input it. Be thankful.
Just help us explain it. Just help us explain why. Yeah.
But just make sure that, since you have this knowledge now, that, you prepare your buyers and sellers for the possibility of this being part of their transaction. And then going over that FINCEN disclosure with them, when you're signing your contracts with them. And I think, I hope other escrow companies and other companies are teaching on this too, because it is something that I feel is really important and very major, and it's going to affect a lot more transactions than people think. There were some people saying, they're like, oh, well, it's only going to affect 2% of our transactions. And I'm like, well, I mean, how many do we already have going? It's
probably a third of ours.
Yeah. So people, I think we're minimizing it, but it's going to be, and if they change the requirements, I hope they don't change it to include more, but it could become even more. So we don't know. The government wants data, and they're going to get it.
Well, a lot of people have their properties and trusts, that's probably something that's triggered on.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I said, a lot of people have their properties and trusts, so that's probably
Yeah.
a big sector.
But it's funny though, because if you're selling and it's already in the trust and an individual is buying your property, doesn't matter. We don't have to do it.
Only if the
It's
buyer.
only the
Buyer
triggers it.
triggers FinCEN. So
The
your
buyer,
buyer will
yeah.
make the determination whether it's reportable
Yeah.
or not.
So if your seller's in a trust, a corporation, all that right now, and the buyer is an individual,
No reporting.
then it's a buyer getting a traditional FDIC insured loan? No.
So how do we know we've got a buyer that's paying cash for land? Okay, so that triggers FINCEN.
Only
If it's not.
they intend to build residential.
So where do we see that question and answer that we know
That's
that's
gonna.
a trigger?
We're gonna ask.
We're gonna start asking. It's gonna be part of our opening package.
Yeah. We're gonna ask the question.
Well, the zoning would probably determine.
But it's
But if they
the
don't
wording
plan to
says
build-
with intention.
Intention.
So the wording says land with intent to build residential.
So not just.
Well, I don't know what your intention is right now.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
People change their mind.
Could change. Tomorrow they could say, just kidding, it's all residential vacant land.
Yeah, they could change it to the zoning.
So, and here's the thing. For me, I'm going to err on the side, I'm going to report it over not reporting it.
Because we don't want to pay that fine.
It's 6-figure penalties. And not like they're going to go finding every escrow company 6 figures. Like they're looking for purposeful
Omission. Omitting of information.
Exactly. Or like if they're like, Kimmy, it looks like you're helping these companies money launder.
Seems to be this one LLC, never report.
And jail time. There, like our attorney told us that there could be jail time and stuff like that. But this is like more for people who are actually committing some sort of fraud. I'm not doing that. But buy commercial. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, these are great questions too. Like, thank you guys for coming to this class because I was worried that everybody's gonna be like, "This looks boring. It doesn't. It doesn't relate to me."
This is very interesting.
But it's really gonna affect a lot more transactions than people think. And if you have a seller and your buyer's an individual and all of a sudden they want to switch, I mean, you have to have that discussion with your client if they are, gonna sign an addendum letting them change it to their corporation or not because it's gonna, trigger this. Maybe the seller doesn't want it to be triggered for some reason. I don't know. Not my thing to ask.
What if we're representing a buyer, and we again cash and they're going to build a house on it. Any suggestions on how we figure out how to help our buyer with an escrow company that we don't know, we don't have any control over?
And they're buying in a trust or corporation. I would ask the escrow processes up front. I would say, are you doing this in-house? Are you sending this out with the opening packages? Are you using a third-party service? What is the third-party service doing? Are they sending an email? Are they sending a portal? I would ask other escrow companies what their processes for FinCEN are so you can prepare your client. Because it's not going to be like this for every company. They're going to have, maybe they're designating it to the title company.
A lot of them are designating the title.
The title company. And the title companies are sending out a portal and saying, you need to fill this out. If it's not all complete, we're not closing. We won't record your deed.
Any chance we can get you to create a cheat sheet for us so we have the right questions to ask?
What kind of...
I'm more on the reporting stuff. Yeah.
A different escrow company.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to give our buyers some.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Cheat sheet. You got it.
Kimmy's on it. I'll make you a task.
Cheat. Yeah, and that's a great question because every company's gonna have their own processes.
Right.
Mhm.
And so you're not gonna be able to write a list of this is how it's gonna work.
Yeah, this is
But
how we are
these
doing it.
questions you need to ask so you can figure out.
Yeah,
Of course.
how are you sending it out? When are you requesting it?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely. Because too, that's going to be the frustrating part too. Is like you guys are going to be used to our processes, and then you're going to go somewhere else, and they're not going to have the same processes.
Or you can just write us on the contract because we're going to do our own reporting and make sure it's done.
And yeah, you could be like, you know what, my escrow company's experienced with FinCEN reporting, and they do it in house. So I would really prefer that my buyer uses their company of choice.
Put it in the remarks.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a list to put in the remarks.
Yeah, and because the thing is, I'm already actively doing the reporting. I don't even have to release, my deadline for March
April
reportings is April 30th. I'm not waiting on my reportings. I'm doing them immediately, which is not something everybody does. Some people are doing what's called batch reportings. So I'm reporting on each individual one that's closing like at the end of the week, beginning of the next week, because I have 30 days after the close of escrow to do it pretty much. They're doing batch reporting. So they're getting like their information, and they have like, 17 of these, and there's a way that you can batch report like these little upload paper things into their system. So they can get like a lot of kickbacks and stuff like that. But since I'm doing each one individually, I have more control over making sure that everything that is needed is in there. Is the battery backup done? It sounds like a battery backup.
Yeah, it's something yesterday too.
Oh, ours is dying too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta get a battery backup.
But that's the alarm, like fire alarm.
There's a higher likelihood for errors to come back.
Yeah, because the thing is too, so what they can do is they can do the paper, and then they can upload it in the batch reporting. So to me, there's more likely something to be missed because sometimes they might be handwriting it on there. When you're doing the portal reporting, if you're missing anything, it will not let you submit it. But if you're doing like the paper batch submissions, I feel like there's a lot more room for error. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting emails back right away, and I'm getting assigned like little case numbers and stuff like that for my things. I'm able to save it in the file. Like I honestly, I'm weird. I really kind of like this stuff in a weird way. I like paperwork. That's why I do what I do. But I'm like, oh yes, I got somebody assigned to it. Oh, here's a new message in the portal. Let me go in there. But knock on wood, I haven't had any additional requests as of yet. But yeah, I mean,
Question. You said reporting. You guys do the reporting to the government?
yes.
Okay.
I was like, where did that come from? Who's behind me?
We're mandated government reporters. Very official.
I really feel like this should be the government's job, but whatever. They want to pass it on to somebody else. And this is nationwide, by the way. This isn't like...
It's not just a California thing.
Mm-mm.
It's everywhere.
It's nationwide. So nobody's...
It's exempt.
Mm-hmm. No.
But any other questions? Any escrow questions? Any... And honestly, like, it sounds more terrifying than it is. It's data, it's information that we mostly have on the files. There's just going to be some things like, I think where more of the pushback is going to come is for the beneficial owners who are not signers on the contract requiring their
and we don't have that as often. We do a lot of LLC entities. They're not typically a lot of beneficial owners. For the most part, it's one or two. But there are those ones that are.
Yeah.
And everyone just has to be willing. Or make a new LLC by yourself. My professional opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
So apply for
If the buyer is a corporation, trust, it will be, for probate. Any deed, any recordable deed. Inside of escrow, outside of escrow, just transferring to your own, What's that?
I feel like Ken's going to come up with more.
That's fine. I love it. Honestly,
I see the real.
the reason I love the questions too,
Yeah.
because it triggers me. I'm like, okay, how much do I know about this topic currently, and how much more do I need to learn? Because I don't know everything. I really don't. And I've been taking classes on this, but like I said, the classes since last year were completely different than the class a month ago that I took.
It's gonna change as we go.
And they didn't even have the portal up and running until I tried the last week of February, like literally the last day of February. I tried to sign up for a portal, and it still didn't have it up. And so I was just able to create a portal like a week ago. Because they kept postponing this too.
We were hoping they were going to just postpone it indefinitely, but
I was kind of hoping that they were going to cut it off on title completely, but they didn't. So yeah. But thank you for coming in.
thank you everyone. Thank you everyone on Zoom.
We'll work on the cheat sheet.
Yes.
Because I think that's a great thing to have.
Gives us a list of questions to ask.
Yeah. And if you have questions on a particular file or person, come see us. If you have more ideas, more things for us to check into, Ken, let us know.
Yeah. But like we said, just have them put us on the contract so then you don't have to deal with another.
Then we'll figure it out. And then please have some drinks
And coffee.
and coffee. Some food.
Thank you very much.
Oh, now I need water.
Hello, my friends. Okay. Am I ending the Zoom? All right. Thank you, Ancha. Woo!